Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Pamtastic on Purpose. Today we're talking about that thing that cracks us wide open in all of the messy, uncomfortable, holy ways. Vulnerability. Not the pretty, polished, and Instagram friendly kind of vulnerability, but the kind of vulnerability that, shakes things up, stings, can soften, and also still asks us to, stay. It asks you to stick around. Oftentimes we feel like vulnerability is more of a scripted performance than an actual vulnerable moment. Lately, I have personally been observing the moments where my body says, this is where you hide, this is where you shrink, this is where you pretend that you're fine and all is well. And instead of collapsing back into old patterns, I've been practicing opening, letting myself be seen, practicing letting life flow through me gracefully and faithfully, rather than feeling resistance and chaos within. So today, my husband and I have Eric with me today, and we are going to be exploring how do we become more vulnerable? And in the middle of all of this growth, how do we actually live the lessons that we've learned? Not just talking about them, not just saying, I know this and regurgitating the things that we've learned verbally, but, to truly embody what we've learned and to live them, practice them in our everyday lives and our everyday challenges. So if you are walking through your own expansion right now, shedding skins or unlearning defense mechanisms or just feeling a bit raw, whatever it may be, this one is for you. So I'm going to now introduce my husband. Eric is here. Eric, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
And I'm just going to give Eric a minute to just, if he has open floor, to just kind of give his own intro. If not, we'll get right into it. It's up to you, babe.
No, we can get right into everything we want to do here. We can get into questioning and discussing different avenues, but ultimately.
Okay, so it's going to be the same as kind of we did last time. I'm going to ask Eric some questions and he's going to answer, and then I'll do my, like, depending on how much time we take with each question, I'll probably chime in and share my own personal answer to the question as well. Yeah, but I'm going to really try to be mindful and conscious of the time that we take with each question, because I really want to pack a lot into this one. And I want to keep it in a time frame where I don't lose attention span. So yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into it. So the first question right off the bat, I think is, I think it's pretty deep right off the bat, but here goes. Um, I don't know about deep, but it's just these just aren't everyday conversation questions. They should be, but they're not. So, what does vulnerability actually feel like in your body? Not the concept, but the real human sensation of being vulnerable. What does it feel like in your body personally?
Mm-hmm.
If for you to answer.
Right. Well, you know, it's a feeling is it's hard to explain sometimes, because you feel it. So to describe the feeling, it's like, um, for me, you know, being vulnerable sometimes is similar to like embarrassment. You get maybe red faced or your body warms up.
But what's the feeling inside of your body that stops you from wanting to be vulnerable or expressing vulnerability or being honest?
Ultimately, fear. fear of judgment,
Feeling
I
in your
know,
body.
I know.
Like, can you
Well,
give me like physical description of what it feels like as far as your senses in your body to be vulnerable?
I guess what I'm feeling now, but I can't describe it. I mean, I'm like, okay, I
Is your heart
guess
racing?
slightly.
You got
So it's
knots in your stomach.
almost, and it's like almost an anxiety kind of feeling, like anxious feeling,
You feel tense.
tense. Yeah, right.
You feel a little naked.
So right, naked,
Like,
put out in the spotlight. Even though I like to be in the spotlight, I don't like to be in the spotlight by on purpose, by someone else anyway on
yeah,
purpose.
you don't like someone else
Right.
leading you to the
Exactly.
spotlight.
I'm cool with like, oh hey, there's a spotlight. Let me
Like,
go
you want
jump
to
in
be on
that.
stage, but you want to be
Right,
behind
right,
the
right,
scenes
right.
making sure that everything's perfect, also,
Right,
because,
right. Which is,
yeah,
it's been my role in a lot of situations where um,
right.
I do that.
But, so, like, you think you get a little sweaty maybe,
Yeah, I'm
or like,
like my palms are sweaty. It's a good thing we didn't eat spaghetti.
but
Well,
but yeah, it's physical, right? So
yeah,
for me,
absolutely.
that's like naked is the best.
Right,
I
right.
feel like is the best description. I just feel literally like exposed, and why that's scary is because of my own perceived flaws and insecurities, and heaven forbid, like they can't see me like this, or they're not gonna love me anymore, or if I share this, then they're gonna think I'm this horrible monster. If I show that I'm angry, or if I show, that I might, have a little bit of a shadow that's coming up right now. It just feels very, for me, it's like that feeling of being completely stripped naked physically, like, you know, naked in the
Hmm.
woods, or, just completely exposed. That's what it feels like. And it's scary because, you know, you're exposed.
Right, it's all
And
out there.
it's like survival. Like, it's kind of what it feels like. I think is for me. And sensation wise, like in my body, like senses, my stomach always gets knots. My heart rate, my pace of my heart rate fastens, like it gets faster. I tend to get dry mouth. I It's hard to speak what I'm feeling in coherent words,
All right,
because the feelings are overriding, what I'm actually trying to say. And if I'm even like if I'm clear about what I'm feeling and why, it's sometimes hard to get that out in the feeling, in the moment of vulnerability, because I'm doing all I can just to be able to have the conversation in the first place.
right.
Just to present it is hard enough, and then to try to be clear on what I'm saying in a way that's also considerate of the other party. It's
Hmm.
just, I think
Right.
it gives us a lot of like, what's the word I'm like, combat miss uh just like discombobulation, is that the
Yeah,
word?
I
Like
guess like
dysfunction, like it just
right, like
feels,
it's just not meshing.
it's a lot. It's over
Right,
system override,
right. It's like
almost, which
putting two
I think is
bolts
why it's
together.
so hard.
Right.
So anyway, um, anything else you would like to add to that particular question?
Mm.
Okay, all right. So moving on, I'm gonna try to keep the time frame in mind. When did you first realize that closing off or shutting down was costing you more than it was protecting you?
Well, when there was more distance in relationship, when I was sensing more anger instead of just, um, enjoying myself or whatever. So, like, I was kind of isolating myself, I guess, you know, in a way, like, because I was afraid to just say, hey,
But what was the aha moment that, that you realized, like, what would you say was a profound aha moment that you realized that, shutting down or closing off or redirecting was actually costing you, more than it was actually protecting you?
Well, I guess when there was absolutely no way possible to move forward without it. Like, I mean, without actually facing,
Can you be more specific?
like, specific, like a date, like
No,
event.
you have to give more context. Like, what I mean, like, what was the moment? You're like, what? So you're like, well, there was no moving forward without it. Well, how so?
I guess I miss.
If you're saying that you realized closing off, or shutting down
Okay,
was costing you more than it was protecting you. You said that it was when you realized, because you couldn't move forward without it. Okay,
right.
and I'm saying, just how so for our listeners, like, how so?
Well,
Why couldn't you move forward without it? What was the can't? Why was that?
well, because I was, instead of being able to look at everything rationally and try and put myself in other perspectives, I was just stuck in one gear of I guess, well, I'm doing this and this is it, and
and
I'm
what was
angry
that
because it's not working.
and what was that click within you that made you realize, okay, this is important. I need to recognize this and make this shift? What was the click
Well,
inside
uh,
of you?
uh,
Would you say?
situations. I mean, ultimately, what was going on in life forced me to really step aside and go, okay, all these things have happened in life, and this is still a thing, or this is getting worse, or
What was something you think it costed you in closing off, shutting down?
well, it cost me trust, in relationships with you and other people. Cost me um, unnecessary trauma onto other people and myself. You know, there's a number of things that just not understand. Like, whatever the reason why you don't understand, but it's definitely a negative effect if you don't just sit down and go, hey, okay, is this actually something that I am or I'm not doing? And if I am, what is it working in a positive way? Is it something I can do better?
Right. Okay. Well, that
You
leads
know,
me right into the next question then. What story did you used to believe about vulnerability, and what are you rewriting now?
well, the main thing about vulnerability that I think is really trust. And once you're vulnerable with somebody, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
you take a
That
piece of paper and
exposure.
you turn it into a ball, or crumple it into a ball, and then you try and flatten it back out. It's never,
Right. Like, it's
you
like
know,
a stain on
normal.
your image, if you will.
Right. So, so you give this information to somebody being vulnerable, and then the next thing it goes through the telegraph game where, everybody's playing telephone, and, the story is twisted and different, and
So it's
it's
about what
judgment,
others think,
and
right?
right, judgment is huge, because you share this thing in trust, and then, of course, not everybody gossips, but
Right.
it happens.
So the story that you would say you told yourself about
Right,
being
is everybody
vulnerable
gossips.
is that, well, it doesn't matter if everybody gossips. That's about them.
Right.
What about you, right? Like, why is that something that bothers you?
Right.
It's the fear of judgment.
Right,
That
the fear of
that
judgment.
fear of that someone's going to look down on me, or have this
Exactly.
against me, or use this against me.
Right. I don't want somebody to say something that isn't necessarily true about me or my character based on
Because why?
something they heard from
Because
somebody
then
else.
what? You feel like you have to prove yourself.
Right. Then I definitely, yeah, exactly. Then I'm like, okay, now I gotta be like, oh,
Right.
this person, really, I shouldn't have to feel, I shouldn't feel that way anyway.
It
But
doesn't matter. Don't shit on yourself. Um, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but
Right. I'm
we're
saying
just
I shouldn't. Right. We shouldn't have to
don't
feel
should on
any kind of way.
ourselves.
Right. I'm not.
You know, we should or shouldn't. We feel how we feel,
Right.
and that's one thing that we don't allow in the moments of being vulnerable, because we tell ourselves these stories about I should have to feel this way. I shouldn't have to feel this way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Non-judgment,
Right.
right? Like we have to find that way to do that with ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
not judge or create this story that someone's going to use our vulnerability against us, or
Oh,
but
absolutely.
that's your wound, is because it's happened in
It's
your
happened.
experience
Right.
so much. So, the story that you used to believe about vulnerability is that being vulnerable is can be weaponized against me.
Absolutely.
And the story that you're rewriting now
Is that's not true. In the right safe place, it's a tool for growth. It's a tool for recognizing your your strengths and your flaws, and turning the flaws into a strength, because recognizing what you have.
right.
And the facts are,
It is a strength.
it's a strength. It's your power. These are your powers.
Absolutely. Okay. So the practice of being seen. This is uh this is what we're moving into now with the next question is the practice of being seen. So what is a way in which you invite safe vulnerability into your relationships? How do you invite safe vulnerability into your relationships?
Well, I just try to build trust on basic levels, you know, just on your basic principles of, you know, being polite and having manners, and just honoring the basics of that, and building on that as a relationship grows, because not every relationship turns into a deep relationship, but you run into people all the time. You could meet somebody at the gas station, and then 2 years later they're your best friend, or you could have known somebody forever and you don't really, vibe.
Okay. Back to the question though. What's a way in which you invite? So you would say like trust is the main thing.
Yes, trust.
Okay. Mine's the same answer.
Sorry, I ramble.
It's okay. I just have to get you back on track because of
Mm-hmm.
timing. I would say the same. Mine is trust, but mine is trust in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Trust in myself is how I invite safe vulnerability into my relationships, because trust in myself leads to trust in others and others trusting me. So that is, I just, it's very important. And that's for me personally. We're all different, and there's going to be some things that are going to stand out more to others, than not. But that's mine. And yeah, I just wanted to add that. Okay, moving on. Next question. Where do you still struggle to be honest about what you need?
Nice trick question to throw in there. No, it's not trick.
It's not a trick
I know it's
question.
not.
But you see what he's
I know.
doing right now,
I know.
listeners.
Well, I don't. There's a lot of times that I don't fully do what I need.
Where do you still struggle to be honest about what you need? Just off the top of your head, what can you think of, like a particular area in which you really struggle to be honest about what you need?
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. Has a lot to do with this entire theme of this podcast.
Being vulnerable. Is that what you're trying to say? That, and and when I need space,
Mm.
you know,
Now, let me go. Okay, so more open ended. So, what when you need space, is that so? That's something that you struggle to be honest to say when you what you need, and is that because you are afraid of an outcome, or is it because you like? What do you think that
well,
your why is?
it's definitely not due to the fear of an outcome. More so, it's about um, not being here to make sure things are okay. With the family, with the children, with the wife, with the household itself. So I guess fear of outcome of something going wrong in the household. But on the you know, I would say that would be fair.
So, do you think that also it's sometimes it's a struggle or a challenge, if you will, to be honest about what you need because you also don't necessarily know within yourself when your cup is not able to serve at the maximum capacity, or needing that space? Is it hard to still discern
Oh
when you
yeah,
need that space?
yes. At times it is. It is. You know. But a lot of it, and I'm not trying to make an excuse. A lot of it is just like, okay, you can go a little further. All right, you can push a little harder. You can, oh, okay, the job's almost done. You can work another day. And but another day turns into 2 days and 3 days. So I allow myself to push until sometimes my body's like, hey, guess what? You're taking 3 days off because you're sick or your muscles are sore
Mhm.
or
Well,
some other
that's what I
reason,
mean, is about being able to discern before that happens,
Right,
and in realizing that what you're doing and telling yourself, oh, it's just this, I just got to get this done, is you're actually going into avoidance and distraction and autopilot
right. And
versus actually listening to your body, being present and being with yourself, knowing what
mm-hmm,
you need and saying the words.
right,
But it's challenging because I think, and this is just me speaking openly because I'm your wife and I know you, but and you can correct me and put your own yes or no's, but it's just, I think, because you're still discerning in yourself when it is absolutely necessary before you get to that complete, the universe sits you down.
right. And there's times, I do catch it and I'm like, okay, let me, reset. Let me go take a walk in the woods or whatever in the morning, and I'll do these little things daily sometimes where, okay, I've gone to work early, the sun's about to come up. I'll take a little break and go outside in the sun or something and take these little moments. And sometimes I'll let these little moments equal like giving myself a whole day or two of just decompression, you know.
So if you know a fear that sits under the resistance to you being seen in vulnerability, what is something that you could tell the listeners that they could do that you practice maybe in the moment of uh, expressing and being seen and speaking honestly and truthfully about what you need in that moment of vulnerability?
Right. Well, there's a lot in that.
What's something that you
Well,
do?
right now, here's something that I do. Okay, this podcast, this particular thing here. I'm like, oh, hem and haw. I love talking about myself, so it makes sense to do it. But on the other side,
It's a different kind of talking
it's a
about
different kind
yourself.
of talking about myself, right? It's not, you know, it's more serious or truthful than comedic and off the cuff.
Well, we're trying to keep it fun, but
But
it's,
yeah,
let's not say serious. I don't want to
hmm
put serious on it. Let's
well, it's just
say
more
it's
raw
more
and truthful,
surface. It's not surface level. It's soul level. It's
right? A
it's
little
depth.
deeper, right? It's not right off the cuff remarks and crap,
It's
which
conscious
I'll still
conversation.
throw those in there, but
Yeah,
you know,
but it's conscious conversation. Not, hey, how's your day? Da da da.
right.
Bitching about
So
work. Da
now
da da. You
I'm off
know.
the topic now, and I can't remember the
Yeah, of
question.
course. You see how good he is at that. So I don't remember where we were now either. I think I was asking how how you soothe that part of your fear
Right,
in the moment
right.
to get past it and have the conversation and say what you need to say and be the
Well,
vulnerable self that you need to be.
I just I just go, okay, like this particular day of the podcast. I'm like, okay, I'm a little,
Say the
and
words.
I'm intimidated, but
You
I
can
said, you
tell
know
him
what?
it's because my wife
I'm
is
going.
relentless and she pushes
Well,
me.
that too, but I also
Just kidding.
go. I want to face
Not
that
really.
fear. I'm afraid of heights. Sometimes my job, I have to climb a high ladder. I have to face that fear. That's what I have to do.
Right. Because the only
So
way to get better at something is
to do it,
to practice it, right?
practice it, and so I'm just trying to face that fear as much as possible when the opportunity arises. And I don't always want to, and my new favorite phrase is, my wife and I talk about it all the time, and about the dynamic between balls and pussies.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm just like, all right, pussy up, because you know that's the strongest thing out there. And if I don't get my pussy on and get going, I'm never gonna accomplish shit.
Instead of saying,
So
they got balls,
so
we say
that's
they
my
got
right,
vagina.
right.
Yeah.
That's my I'm conquering the fear by
Yeah. All right.
making it work.
So by, something, a way that you soothe, though, you still didn't answer that question, but we're going to
Well,
move
I
on
soothe.
because,
I soothe it. I soothe by
like, somebody that doesn't have the will that you do, you know what I mean?
right. Well,
How,
that's
what would you, I would, okay, so here's what I would say. Um, in the moment when you just feel like you shutting down is safer and avoiding or going away from the situation or distracting yourself with some autopilot bullshit, you just do it. Like you tell yourself the why it benefits you and your relationship, and you face the fear, right? The fear that
right.
the reason, like the outcome that you're afraid of, you take a good solid look at it and you face it head on and ask yourself and what is the worst that happens, even if that happens, and you do it anyway, only to find out it wasn't nearly as bad as you really thought it was going to be. And you keep doing that over and over again
Right.
until it's not scary anymore. It's just part of who the fuck you are, who we
Right.
all are at core. But we have been conditioned to not do the things that are best for our well being. So I don't know why I just got robotic there for a minute, because I'm just very passionate about the fact that we need to listen to our bodies and we need to say the things and that we're feeling, especially within the dynamic of our close loved ones and in relationships, because these are our reflections, our mirrors, our not just our loved ones, but there are direct resources to being able to see ourselves
Right.
in our shadows, in our messy, in our
Mm-hmm.
raw,
Right.
you
Like this
know?
conversation right here. I mean, it's just we
Yeah.
do this all the time, just sitting around and just talking about whatever and getting it out. And these little things, they just come out when you're talking. And so if you spend the time to have the conversation
Yeah.
about just about anything, every conversation triggers a spark to another conversation, to another
Because that's how our
conversation.
brains work. It's a
And
computer. I mean, it's data drive. So it's looking for these patterns. So it's like, oh, okay, let's talk about this. Okay, it's gonna lead you to that.
right. So now, instead of focusing on, what, Joe Smith did on the famous TV show, we're talking about, okay, what kind of things can we do to change how we're thinking about this particular situation in our life,
How we can grow and be
or
better
how can we be
and be the
better about
ripple
that,
effect.
right?
All right. So moving on. You're getting off subject again.
Okay,
Listen,
there you go again.
moving back. So closing out reflections. What is the bravest thing that you've done this year, Eric, in the name of your growth?
Damn. I finally really actually looked at myself, my patterns, my past, and admitted that, yep, there are some things that I'm not real good at, or that I've been doing very wrong,
No.
or not
that need to
like
change.
that
That's
I
all.
can change, right?
There are some
Not
things that you need to unlearn so that you
right.
can unbecome and become who you
And
are.
they're not things like these are things that yes, they helped me in the past. They protected me from these things. They helped me avoid problems and situations,
But
but
what's the bravest thing you think you've done? You're just taking that look
yeah,
at like the
taking
man in
that
the
leap.
mirror
Yeah, like I mean,
and
and not being
making the
afraid,
commitment to
right,
the
making the
changes.
commitment to change and not being afraid to just let out the tears and scream and yell and just have that emotion and let it flow out and be
Will you are you
feel
brave
the
enough
pain you
are you
have.
brave enough to give a direct example of a time through throughout this past year of something that you did that you think would be so scary and no man would want to admit to anybody ever, especially on a live on a broadcasted, you know, platform.
You're trying to calm me up.
I I'm asking
You're
you. I'm
trying to
not.
get
You do
my.
not have to. This is.
You're
I'm not.
trying
I
to.
am
You're
not
trying
forcing
to.
you by
You're
any
trying to get me
means.
to show my
I'm
pussy.
asking you if you have the vagina to tell the podcast listeners about a moment when that you had and let it like so you had the moment and now like you're gonna have the bravery
Okay.
to tell somebody
Right.
about that
Right.
moment.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well. All right. There's. I struggled a lot with insecurity and being insecure in many ways. Mother wounds in particular. And I always just was like, well, yeah, I know. Here's my dynamic, blah blah blah. My dynamic with my mom's good, whatever it is, what it is. And then finally, I really put myself in the dark and asked the questions. But not only did I just ask the question about, why, how, what's this insecurity, I actually
What was the experience?
listened to it.
Your ego's driving right now. I'm just gonna
Oh,
be
okay.
honest.
All right.
Because what's happening is you're getting off of the actual. I'm talking about an experience of a raw, vulnerable. And what led me to this personally was
Mm-hmm.
that you mentioned tears.
Okay.
So, can you tell our listeners, especially the men, if there are
Uh-huh.
masculines listening, a time where you were seen and held and allowed, let's just say tears?
Okay. All right.
Can you share that?
Well, there was a time where, and that's like seen and held, like I'm referring to, and in this particular instance, I was just talking about was, you were helping me through text message in the process of this, and but I mean, there's been a few occasions in the last year or year and a half, where, um, when we went to the church,
That's the one that comes up
you
for me
know,
too when I think about that.
and it was a great sermon. It
Can you
felt
tell them about your experience of what happened at the church that day when we went to
that's
the church?
just was starting.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you, I
Right.
want you to keep it on you.
Okay. All right. So, it was very everything that the sermon was about was exactly what I needed to hear. God was speaking, universe, whatever, yeah, source, whatever people want to call it. So in that moment, I'm here and I'm really facing everything more than I've ever faced in my life, and I never just asked to let it go. And when the minister asked, if anybody needs to be set free, let it out, release, whatever. I can't, remember exactly the phrase he said in that effect. But at the end of the day, I came forward, and the embrace, um, and the understanding just allowed me to, I just exploded with tears. Like there was no, there was nothing you could do to stop it, you know, and it just flowed and flowed, and the words and the,
Because of the love that
you
was
know, and right, because I was
surrounding you.
surrounded by so much love in that moment, you know, and
And it just felt okay.
right, it
It
felt
was okay to
right,
let go and
it
release.
felt exactly right to be vulnerable. It was no problem, you know, you could let it go. And that was really the breakthrough of the first time that I've ever just publicly, especially, let it go. You
And,
know, as a child,
and what did that feel like
it felt liberating. I mean, it was, you know,
afterwards? Like,
afterwards, it was, again, liberating, freeing. It was very cleansing, you know, and it helped to solidify going more in depth, even though it's painful.
right.
So, you know, but pain, when you
Only way
face
out
it,
is only way out is through, right?
when you face it, pain lasts a lot. It's a shorter span of time that you have the pain when you face the pain than it is when you don't face the pain, because if you don't face it, it just reoccurs in other ways or
Yeah.
the same way.
Okay. All right. So wrapping it up, I just want to end it. Really for I like this is where I like to hone it in for whoever is here if they stay this, especially if they've stayed this long. I really want to give something to our audience and just feel like they can leave this podcast feeling like they've gained some sort of clicking or activation or just awareness within themselves that maybe they didn't have before listening. Uh, the difference between performing openness and living openness is practice. It's plain and simple. It's practice and it's effort and it's mindfulness in every moment, staying committed to allowing yourself to be the full spectrum of who you are, whether you without judgment,
Right,
without judgment.
right.
Um, and I just want to leave you with 3 practices to apply in your next opportune moment. And that's what I call challenging moments, especially within the dynamic of any close personal relationships that we have. Our husbands, our spouses, our children, our mothers, our siblings, our aunts and uncle, all of our immediate family, all of our close friends, they're all reflections and there are opportunities and challenges. And sometimes your decisions they're gonna look a lot different than what's right for somebody else. And you gotta stay committed to you. And you have to really learn how to be able to do that from a vulnerable, honest, emotional feeling place because your feelings are your guide. They are your guide to what's best for you. Even if it feels yucky, I promise they're telling you something. So, very first thing is name the feeling out loud. Go to your person, have the conversation. The first thing you need to do is name the feeling. After that, you ask for something small that you need in that moment. Here's this unmet need that I'm feeling is unmet. This is what I need from you right now in this moment. Even if they can't provide it for you, even if they tell you they can't provide it for you, you have to be brave enough to say, here's what I need. You have to say it out loud. And I don't like saying you have to. I'm not trying to preach at you, but it's just these are things that will be helpful in the moments of vulnerability. Let someone love you in a moment that you'd normally shut down or freeze up. Let them hold you. Just let them. Let them hold you. Allow them the space to let you have strength that breathes. And this is all I'm going to leave you with. One of my favorite quotes by Rumi. I don't know if you know Rumi, with the poet Rumi, but my favorite quote by Rumi is, "The wound is where the light enters." If you're tired of being in the shadows and you're tired of feeling like there's darkness upon your relationships, upon your environment, your situations, then I promise you it is time to step into the wound and just allow it and be with it so that it can breathe and bring you back to strength and personal
Mm-hmm.
power. And that's it. And we're gonna wrap it up there. Eric, are you good? Do you have anything else to
No,
say?
I'm good.
I apologize if it seems like I was cutting him off. I don't mean to do
She
that, but I
has to do
have to,
that.
or he'll keep talking and talking.
I'll
We're both
ramble.
kind of like that,
Mm-hmm.
but believe it or not, I'm the one that has to reel him in
It's true.
in
I
the
ramble.
dynamic of the two of us.
I'll ramble on for a
So,
minute.
as always, thank you for being here with us. We love and appreciate you very much. However, if you
Excuse me.
feel called to support us in any way, as always, we appreciate it greatly with love and gratitude. Uh, in the meantime, until next time, stay purposeful, stay present, and keep shining your light. We love you.